Evicted my adult son after finding drugs in his room for the third time, but my ex-wife is blasting me on social media for making him homeless in winter, even though he refused rehab and stole money from my wallet. I am a 48-year-old male, and I have been divorced from my 46-year-old ex-wife for about 6 years now. We have one son together, who is 23 years old. I have always known that my parenting style and my ex-wife's parenting style were very different. She tends to be more of a friend to him, while I always tried to be the parent who set boundaries. I have never been able to figure out exactly when things went so wrong with my son. But I was determined to fix it because I wanted him to have a stable life and a good future. So I decided to let him move back in with me about 6 months ago after he lost his apartment and his job. My current girlfriend, who I have been seeing for 2 years, advised me against it. She said that if my son hasn't shown any real signs of changing his behavior, then I should just let him figure it out on his own instead of enabling him again. But I ignored her advice since I really wanted to help him get back on his feet. I am just a father who loves his kid, and I couldn't stand the thought that he was struggling out there, sleeping on friends' couches. I had to make it right. A few months ago, I started setting up his room and even tried to get him connected with a job at my friend's landscaping company. He wasn't interested at all in the job offer and told me he wanted to focus on his music career or finding something online. I paid for his groceries, his phone bill, and didn't charge him any rent. In fact, I even paid off some of his old parking tickets and made sure his car was running properly, as he was really particular about needing his car to get around. I even gave him a curfew, which I thought was reasonable, and asked him to help out with basic chores around the house. Basically, I paid for everything and provided a roof over his head with a little help from my girlfriend's patience, while he did absolutely nothing to help around the house and didn't contribute financially. Yesterday, I was getting ready to go to the grocery store. I went to grab my wallet from the kitchen counter where I usually leave it. Anyway, once I opened it, I noticed that all the cash I had taken out from the bank the day before was gone. It was about $300. After looking around the kitchen to see if I had dropped it, I finally walked down the hall to my son's room. The door was closed. I knocked, but there was no answer. I opened the door, expecting him to be asleep, but he wasn't there. He must have slipped out the back door while I was in the shower. I walked into the room, and it was a disaster area. There were empty food containers everywhere and dirty laundry piled up. I started looking around to see if maybe he had left the money on his dresser. I wasn't trying to snoop initially, I just wanted to see if the cash was sitting out. I moved a pile of hoodies on his desk, and that's when I saw it. There was a small plastic baggie with white powder in it and a rolled-up bill next to it. My heart just sank. This wasn't the first time. It was the third time I had found drugs in his possession since he moved in. I sat on the edge of his bed for a minute, just staring at the baggie. I felt sick. I realized in that moment that my girlfriend had been right all along. I never should have let him move back in without stricter conditions or drug testing. When my son came home about an hour later, he looked pretty surprised to see me sitting in the living room with the baggie on the coffee table. He didn't say anything at first. He just tried to walk past me to his room. I told him to sit down. He sighed and rolled his eyes, acting like this was a huge inconvenience for him. I asked him about the money and the drugs. He immediately started denying everything. He said the money wasn't him and the baggie must have been left there by a friend who visited. I told him that I knew he was lying. I told him that I had given him chance after chance. I explained that I had paid for his car, his food, and his bills in an attempt to get him stable, but the lying and the stealing were the final straw. A nasty look took over his face. He proceeded to call me a control freak in the most disrespectful tone before telling me that while he appreciated the room, he was an adult and I had no right to go through his stuff. I was shocked and asked him if he realized that stealing from me was a crime. He replied that he was going to pay me back eventually, so it wasn't stealing. He said he needed the money for something important, but wouldn't say what. Then he told me that if I was going to be such a jerk about it, he would just go to his mom's house. My girlfriend and I looked at each other, and I realized right then that he wasn't sorry at all. He just viewed me as a bank account. So I got up, told him that he needed to pack his bags immediately, and that if he wasn't out in an hour, I'd call the police to escort him out. That wiped the smug look off his face. He told me that I was being cold and cruel because it's the middle of winter and it's freezing outside. So I just told him that he should have thought about that before he stole from me and brought drugs into my house again. After a bit of back and forth, where he tried to convince me that it was just a one-time relapse, I told him that he didn't deserve any more chances right now and that my decision was final. He looked furious, and right before he left, He started crying, probably as a last-ditch effort to make me feel sorry, but I was too angry to care. I was livid. He packed a couple of bags, throwing things around and punching the wall in the hallway on his way out. He slammed the front door so hard the windows rattled. My girlfriend looked pretty uncomfortable about this whole thing, but refused to make any comment apart from saying that I did the right thing for my own sanity. Then she made me a cup of coffee, which was nice of her. Anyway, since he was gone, I decided to change the locks on the front and back doors immediately. This was pretty expensive and annoying to do on a Sunday, but I didn't trust him not to have a spare key. I called a locksmith I know and he came out within an hour. A few hours later, my phone started blowing up. I checked Facebook and my ex-wife had posted a long rant. She wrote that I had kicked our son out into the freezing cold with nowhere to go. She said I was a heartless father who cared more about money than his own flesh and blood. She didn't mention the drugs or the stealing at all. My sister texted me saying that I was being too harsh and that I should have driven him to a shelter or something instead of just kicking him out. She said it was incredibly selfish of me to put him on the street in winter. I don't feel particularly sorry about what I did and think it was perfectly reasonable though. I'm just hoping I'm right. Aita for kicking my adult son out of the house in winter after finding drugs and realizing he stole money from me. Update 1, I told my girlfriend about the post my ex-wife had made and the messages I was getting. I asked her if I should reach out to my ex-wife to explain what actually happened. She said absolutely not. In fact, she told me that she had had enough of their drama and thought that it would be best if we decided to cut off communication with my ex-wife entirely for a while. This was a huge deal since my ex-wife and I usually communicate regarding our son, even though he is an adult. My ex-wife relies on me sometimes to help coordinate things for him, like insurance paperwork or car repairs. I am relatively stable financially, so cutting them off would mean she would have to deal with his crises on her own. This was a problem as my ex-wife is not very good with money and switches jobs every few months. Truth be told, both of them were very dependent on me to fix things, so this was a huge decision. I tried to tell my girlfriend that maybe I should just send one text to clear the air, but she was pretty adamant. I'm sure that there's something deeper at play here because, truth be told, I've always noticed that my son acts worse whenever he has been talking to his mother a lot. By the time he moved in with me 6 months ago, he was quite detached from reality. It wasn't entirely his own fault since I remember him telling me several times that he would try to get a job, but then his mom would tell him that the job was beneath him or that the boss sounded mean. She would enable him constantly. I was sure that I was part of the reason he was like this too, because I hadn't stepped in sooner. That was another factor that made me so desperate to help him when he moved in, so I could try to undo some of that damage. I'm quite sure that there's something that my ex-wife isn't telling me or hasn't told me about his recent behavior, because she's not the kind of person to simply take him in without complaining to me first. Usually, she calls me immediately if he shows up at her place. But she hasn't called me directly, just posted on social media. This silence, apart from the public bashing, is very strange and out of character for her. I'm determined to get to the bottom of this because I don't want my son to spiral further. I'm just hoping that whatever is going on isn't going to blow up in my face. I decided to scroll through the comments on her post, which was a mistake. People I haven't seen in 10 years were commenting that I was a monster. I saw a comment from one of her friends saying, "He's always been abusive like this," which is a complete lie. I have never been abusive. I was strict, yes, but never abusive. Reading that made my blood boil. I sat there in the living room, reading comment after comment, feeling my chest get tight. I realized I needed to stop looking at it. I put my phone down and went to the kitchen. My girlfriend was making dinner. She looked at me and asked if I was okay. I told her I wasn't. I told her that I felt like I was being painted as a villain for trying to keep drugs out of my house. She told me that I needed to stand my ground. She reminded me of the time 3 months ago when I found pills in his jacket pocket and he swore they were just holding them for a friend. I believed him then. I realized I had been naive. I spent the rest of the night just thinking about all the times I let things slide. The missing $20 here and there, the smell of smoke in the bathroom. The constant excuses for why he couldn't make it to a job interview. I had been ignoring all the red flags because I wanted to believe he was getting better. I'm just hoping that he is safe at his mom's house, even if she is using this to attack me. I don't want him to freeze, obviously, but I can't have him here destroying my peace. Update 2, after a lot of thinking and a sleepless night, I finally realized why my ex-wife is reacting this way and why my son is the way he is. I knew that my ex-wife had a rough childhood and her parents were extremely strict, to the point of being cruel. She had never really processed that. So naturally, when we had our son, she went to the complete opposite extreme. She wanted to be the cool mom. She wanted to be his best friend. When he was a teenager, if I grounded him for bad grades, she would sneak him out to go to the movies. If I took his phone away because he was disrespectful, she would buy him a burner phone behind my back. She worked hard to undermine me because she wanted to be the favorite parent. When we divorced, she played the victim, telling everyone I was controlling because I wanted our son to have a bedtime and do homework. Now that he was an adult, she had created a dynamic where he was completely dependent on her validation, but she couldn't support him financially. She needed me to pay for everything while she got to be the hero who saved him from my rules. That's why when he moved in with me, she probably hated it. She probably felt like she was losing her grip on him, but she also liked that I was paying the bills. Now that I kicked him out, she has to deal with him 24/7 and she doesn't have the money to support his lifestyle. So she has to paint me as the villain to justify asking people for money or sympathy. I remembered something my son said during our argument yesterday. He said, "Mom said you owe me this." I didn't think much of it at the time, but now it makes sense. She's been telling him that I owe him support, that I owe him a free ride. After the whole eviction fiasco, I checked my bank account again. I noticed a few other small transactions from the past month that I hadn't recognized before. Gas station charges, fast food. I realized he must have taken my card while I was sleeping, used it, and put it back. I called my bank and canceled the card. I also decided to look at the phone bill. I pay for his cell phone. I looked at the data usage and it was insane. But more interestingly, I saw that he had been texting his mother constantly during the times he was supposed to be looking for jobs. My girlfriend and I sat down and talked about it. She pointed out that his mother essentially uses him as a weapon against me. Whenever she is mad at me, he suddenly has a crisis that costs me money. Whenever she is happy, he is distant. I'm still in shock that I didn't see this pattern clearly until now. I feel stupid for letting it go on for so long. I pretty much lost any respect I ever had for my ex-wife because she is sacrificing our son's well-being just to win a popularity contest against me. I'm really happy that my girlfriend is here to support me. She told me that I am not crazy and that any normal person would have kicked him out after finding drugs. Truth be told, I don't care about what my ex-wife thinks of me anymore. I care about my son, but I can't help him if he is actively working against me with her. Now that I know the whole dynamic, I'm surprised that I was able to put up with this for so long. I think I am making the right decision to keep the door locked. They are incredibly manipulative. My son is 23, not 13. He needs to learn that actions have consequences, and his mother isn't going to teach him that. Update 3 today, I finally decided to call my ex-wife. I wanted to tell her that I wasn't going to be paying for his phone anymore and that I was taking him off my car insurance. I knew this would cause a problem, but I needed to stop the financial bleeding. I called her around noon. She answered almost immediately, and she was already yelling. I could hear my son in the background, and it sounded like the TV was blasting. I tried to be calm. I told her that I saw her post, and I didn't appreciate the lies. She screamed that they weren't lies and that I was a deadbeat dad. She said that I had abandoned my boy. I told her, he is 23 years old. He is a grown man who stole from me and brought drugs into my house. She didn't want to hear it. She started accusing me of planting the drugs to get rid of him. She said that I just wanted to be alone with my new girlfriend and that I was pushing my son out to make room for her. This was ridiculous because my girlfriend has her own place and just stays over sometimes. Then my son got on the phone. He sounded slurry, like he was high or drunk. He started crying and saying that he was sorry, but then immediately switched to anger. He said, "You have so much money, Dad. Why can't you just help me?" I told him, "I did help you. I gave you a place to live for free. You stole from me." He said, "It was just a few $100. You make that in a day." It was appalling to hear him speak like that. It confirmed everything I thought about his entitlement. I took a breath and gave them an ultimatum. I told them, "Here is the deal. I will pay for rehab. If you want to get better, I will drive you to a facility today and I will pay for it. But I am not giving you cash and you are not living in my house until you are clean." My ex-wife laughed. She actually laughed. She said, "He doesn't need rehab. He just needs a father who loves him." My son started yelling that he wasn't a junkie and that I was trying to embarrass him. It was classic manipulation. They wanted the money and the resources, but they didn't want the accountability. When things started getting too heated and I could feel my blood pressure rising, I decided to intervene in the cycle. I told them that since they were refusing rehab, I was cutting off the phone and the insurance effective immediately. I told them that my decision was final. My ex-wife started screaming that I couldn't do that. She said, "He needs his phone to find a job." I said, "He hasn't looked for a job in 6 months. He uses the phone to talk to you and buy drugs." I hung up. I muted the notifications on my phone because I knew they were going to blow it up. My girlfriend was sitting on the couch and she looked at me with this sad expression. She grabbed my hand and squeezed it. It's been an hour since the call ended. I feel drained. I feel like I just cut off my own arm, but I know it had to be done. We decided to order a pizza and try to watch a movie to distract ourselves. I kept looking at my phone, seeing the screen light up with calls from ex-wife and son, but I didn't answer. Update 4: since harassing me on the phone wasn't enough, my ex-wife decided to bother me on every other platform she could find. After the movie ended, I decided to check my email because I use my phone for work and needed to see if a client had messaged me. I had about 20 emails from my ex-wife. The subject lines were things like, "You will pay for this," and "selfish bastard." I opened one of them and it was a wall of text. She was threatening to come to my job site and tell my boss that I was a drug addict. She said she was going to tell everyone that I hit my son. I wasn't surprised in the least though, since this is exactly what I had expected them to do when cornered. I took screenshots of everything. I forwarded the emails to my personal folder so I would have a backup. Then I saw a notification from Instagram. My son had posted a video on his story. It was him sitting in his mom's kitchen, looking absolutely wasted. He was ranting about how his dad is a rich prick who left him to die in the snow. He showed a fake bruised arm and implied I did it. I felt sick. He was lying to the world about me. I realized this had gone way beyond a family dispute. This was defamation. I continued to look at the messages. My ex-wife had messaged my girlfriend on Facebook. She sent her a message saying, "You better watch your back, homewrecker. We know where you live." My girlfriend saw it and got really scared. She has nothing to do with this, and threatening her was crossing a line I didn't know they would cross. I accidentally ended up accepting a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was my ex-wife's brother. He started yelling at me as soon as I said hello. He told me that I was a disgrace to the family and that I needed to send my ex-wife $5,000 immediately to make things right for the distress I caused. I didn't even respond to his demands. I simply told him, "If you think they are so right, why don't you let him live with you?" He stuttered for a second and said, "That's not the point. He's your son." I hung up and blocked him too. I realized they were all in on it. They all viewed me as the wallet, and now that the wallet was closed, they were panicking. I haven't told my boss about the threats yet because I don't want to bring drama to work. But if this happens again, I'll definitely be letting him know. They have absolutely no right to disturb my livelihood. I don't know what they're going to do next, but I'm sure that my ex-wife is definitely not going to stop until she gets money. I'm praying that it doesn't have to come to legal action, but threatening my girlfriend was a huge mistake on their part. Update 5: almost 2 weeks have passed since the last update, and so much has happened since then. I honestly didn't think it would get this bad. After I blocked everyone, my girlfriend and I tried to lay low. We parked her car in the garage so it wouldn't be seen from the street. But 3 days ago, my ex-wife and my son showed up at my house. It was around 7 in the evening. It was already dark outside. I heard pounding on the door, not just knocking but pounding. I looked through the peephole and saw my ex-wife. She looked manic. Her hair was messy and she wasn't wearing a coat, just a heavy sweater. My son was standing behind her, hood up, looking at the ground. I told my girlfriend to go into the bedroom and lock the door. I decided to open the door but kept the screen door locked. I knew that if I didn't address them, they would probably break a window or something. As soon as I opened the main door, my ex-wife started screaming. She demanded I let them in. She said the heat in her apartment had been turned off because she couldn't pay the bill and it was my fault. I told them they couldn't come in. I said, I offered to pay for rehab. I am not giving you money for rent or drugs. Then they started attacking the screen door. My son grabbed the handle and tried to rip it open. He was screaming, "Give me my money, I know you have cash in there." He looked unrecognizable. His face was gaunt and his eyes were wild. I knew for a fact that this was the drugs talking. My ex-wife was cheering him on, telling him to get what is his. I yelled at them that I was calling the police. My ex-wife screamed, "Go ahead, tell them you abused us." I slammed the main door shut and locked it. I called 911 immediately. I told the dispatcher that my ex-wife and son were trying to break into my house and that they were making threats. While I was on the phone, I heard glass shatter. They had thrown a rock through the front window of the living room. Cold air and glass shards flew onto the rug. My girlfriend screamed from the bedroom. I grabbed a baseball bat from the hall closet, just in case they tried to climb through the broken window. I stood in the hallway, heart pounding, waiting for the police. They didn't try to come in though. I think the sound of the glass breaking scared them too. They ran back to my ex-wife's car. The police arrived about 5 minutes later. They saw the broken window and took my statement. I showed them the texts, the emails, and the video of my son. Because of the broken window and the threats, the police took it very seriously. They went to my ex-wife's apartment. I found out later that they arrested my son for vandalism and attempted burglary. They also cited my ex-wife for disorderly conduct, although she wasn't arrested that night. My ex-wife started calling me from the police station, or maybe just after the police left her, screaming that I had put my son in jail. She blamed me for everything. She said that if I had just given them the money, none of this would have happened. I realized then that she was truly delusional. She couldn't see that her actions and his actions led to this. She only saw me as the obstacle to what she wanted. My girlfriend and I spent the next day boarding up the window and cleaning up glass. I felt terrible about this whole thing. I wished I had never let him move in. But then again, if I hadn't, I wouldn't have known how deep into addiction he really was. Anyway, after the incident, I filed for a restraining order against both of them. The judge granted a temporary one, immediately given the police report and the broken window. So we started looking for a lawyer to make it permanent, and we were definitely right to have done that. Within days, my ex-wife started posting online that I had framed my son and broke my own window to get him arrested. It was appalling that she was willing to lie about something when there was a police report. We were able to prove she was lying because my neighbor has a Ring doorbell camera that caught the whole thing. It showed my son throwing the rock and my ex-wife screaming. We sent that footage to the police and our lawyer. Last I heard, my son is still in custody because he couldn't make bail, and my ex-wife doesn't have the money to get him out. She is scrambling, asking her family for money, but they all know the truth now because I sent the video to her brother. I'm glad that this is happening in a way, because at least in jail, he isn't using drugs. It sounds harsh, but I know he is safe from overdose there. My girlfriend and I are shaken up, but we are looking into moving to a new house where they don't know the address. We can finally move past this whole episode. It's going to take a long time to heal from seeing my own son try to break into my house, but I know I did the only thing I could do. I refuse to be their victim anymore. I intend to keep my peace, even if it means I never speak to them again.